In this video, we are going to see about the last chapter of Southern Family Anniversary. The sister Patrick said that the story of Sister Davis, almost she is blind, she reads and wore some glasses, special glasses, and it seems to be very close to her size. Later, saying printed on T-shirt is good, and Sister Davis liked that one. They laughed hardly for a few minutes. Weeks went off. Sister began to thank you for the notes for giving the children and the parents. She knows something very wrong, but she doesn't say what it is to their children. Two men hoped with his helpless hilarity. Sister Patrick soused and bunching her lips again. Lily showed down and rode caramel near the motel restaurant and amusement parks. Sister Lana did last summer. They had to turn around and go back. It's tough to find the direction. 10 minutes ago, we were hooting like girls over the horny t-shirts, and two nervous ladies afraid miss the fun of her children. If the laughter makes you young, Miss Elika Glenn having a cute over much that is to attract Ralph so much. They found the sign of St. Margaret's Church over the wooden bridge, and it looked like a mortal like a structure. I'm set back from the road among the trees with a large swimming pool. Sister Patrick is saying that the retreat house that I and Sister Lanier were staying. Father built the house too. He did not become a priest until he was 80. It was a quiet story, American church history. It is a short story. When he was when he was almost at the age of 60, he sold all his farmland in Michigan and moved to Maggie Valley. He bought his entire hill in the mindset of building a Catholic church on the top, naming Irish mother, but the bishop was against in Catholic in that town because no one are there in area is Christians. Finally, bishop gave the permission to the church with his own money. It took 3 or more years to build the church, and later bishop came and said that I want you to become a priest and take care of the people in Magivai. At the age of 78, father went off to a seminary to become a priest. And the church opened first time, only two people came. They passed a group of nuns in short brown hair. They reached at the top of the church. I told her first feeling is I will lift them up, and they are so closely at the top of that one over there is actually lower than we are. It reminds me of Switzerland. Not that I have ever been of Switzerland. Clara is over there, and she is looking up some of other relatives. My father was Swiss, or rather, his father was born there. She stood on the balcony, expecting them to drive upon in a goat cart. But they came in a large grey, they bearing gift of Swiss chocolate. I can't just see Clara, Sister Patrick said laughing, worrying about her relatives driving upon in a goat cart. Heaven must be like this, she said gaily, then realized perhaps for the first time since his death that according to the rules of her religion as well as Sister Patrick, Father Ware said everyone except outright saints had to stop off the purgatory for a while, to get cleaned up first, to go to straight for his corrupted world to heaven. Would be such a change in it would be blow the ordinary soul into a million pieces, he said. Small architecture miracle in the church. South side was also a glass windows looking out the surrounding mountain tops. Facing west, mountain higher than all the rest. Two huge wooden beams, shape of a cross, vertical brim of the cross at the center of the high mountain, like floating in a glass space capsule among the mountain tops. High peak in front of Asper to kneeling in the pew side beside Sister Peg. Raph would have loved this church. Popcorn bowl wouldn't repair the hole above the tub where the soap dish had fallen out of the wall. Ralph, who dreams about how building should be in live in them. Mr. Patrick was telling her jokes. Lily had ransacked her memory for one should tell in return, but the only one she could remember was the terrible one Freddy Station had told her recently in the fresh market. When they meet at the wine shelves, a man went to the doctor, Freddy said, her green eyes twinkling naughtily, and after the doctor examined, he asked to speak the man's wife alone. The wife came into the office. Their husband is sick, said the doctor, but there is only one way to him. The woman asked, what is that one? The doctor said, you must cook him 3 hot meals a day and have sex with him every night. The woman tagged a doctor for his advice and rejoined his husband. As they were drove home together, the husband asked his wife what the doctor had said. Well, she replied, after a moment, he said that you were sick and you were going to die. Lily had said when it had, that's an awful joke, Freddie. Then Lily had begun to laugh. Then Freddie had straightened her face demurely and said, it's woman's joke. Yes, agreed Lily. Then he had picked out of their separate wines and butter. It's a woman's joke, but not an unjoke. She had about being a wife, and Lily preferred to keep her idols about being a nun. On the other trip to the fresh market, Lily had noticed a sweet old couple in front of her. In an old Harris sweater jacket with an elbow patches was fingering avocados. Plump wife in her dowdy pantsuit stood patiently and respectfully by awaiting his flinkly decision. The woman turned her head slightly, and Lily realized that the old couple were Julia and her father. Mr. Patrick finished praying, and the nuns belonged to the group they had overtaken on the hill. Sister Patrick lingered at the pamphlet stand beside the holy water, stooped and examined the choice of postcards. Our greatest anxiety concerning death is the fear of non-being, loss of identity, personhood. We are afraid we won't exist. Ashley Lilly replaced the pamphlet, went out with the sunshine, leaving Sister Patrick to make up her mind about the postcards. I was hoping we could see the father, but the door to presbytery was closed. He was 91, you know. I think it's dry enough. Don't you? Or could sit on our jackets? It's warm today. You don't have to, said Lily. I have always carry an old bedspread in the trunk of the car for when Johnson's and I go to the nature center together. He likes to take a picnic sometimes. We sit near the water and watch the otters play. At the steep angle at which they were sitting, the surrounding mountain tops seemed to lie about their feet. Color of the trees were further turning that they had been in a mountain city. Mr. C.P. Sumrall would have loved this view. He would have screwed up his eyes and breathed roughly and then begun to squeeze out of his colors, sighing sadly in the advance because he could never ever quite catch it. He was such an affectionate nature and an empathy far beyond his years. Every day I see more of Theo on him. Theo was always worrying about how other people felt, and Johnson is such a little diplomatic. I probably shouldn't be telling this because it puts me in bad light. But last weekend, when he was staying with us, happened to say something a little regretfully about his mother to Rolf. I thought Jason was in the next room playing and I was so annoyed with snow. I both had to rearrange our plans and said, oh, it wasn't that awful something like, well, what can you expect from Black the Hillbilly team? Suddenly we looked around and there stood Jason at the kitchen door with his arms flooded over his chest and a peculiar little smile on his face. And he said, Angel, you will apologize for your rudeness. Yes, indeed, Sister Patrick, still living up in Granny Squirrel with all her family. One of her biggest point of difference that she seems to feel that what she is doing enough. I'm going to stop imitating her twangs. That is one of my new resolutions, she says. I have a child, that's an interest. If I was go off and train for something, who would be there for Johnson's? When he gets home for head starts. She start a point, admitted Sister Patrick. There is so many of them huddled to gather up in the family compound. Mr. Mullins, who always around anyway, do you know Jasons can already make business. Mr. Mullins to make them twice a day for the old digger. But the grandfather refused to take over them. Jansen has helped her so many times that we can, when he comes to our house, get out all the ingredients he can mix up and all by himself. He is not quite strong enough to do that, and he cuts them out with the jelly glasses, and they are the best biscuits I have ever seen. When I'm going to have to try and see it. Mr. Mullen will teach him to dig potatoes and make biscuits, and all his rough little cousins will teach them how to be tough and protect itself. I care about most seeing that child grow up strong, intelligent, without being damaged, irreversible, called yesterday from Switzerland to wish me happy birthday. I could tell she was a little disappointed that I didn't get more excited about our relatives in Switzerland. 10 years ago, I might have been, but roots do not matter much anymore. Ancestors in common are just more antiquated old habits. I care about what here's for my do now. I didn't realize our birthday was. Yes, indeed, Sister Patrick, still living up in Granny Squirrel with all her family. One of her biggest point of difference that she seems to feel that what she is doing enough. I'm going to stop imitating her twangs. That is one of my new resolutions, she says. I have a child, that's an interest. If I was go off and train for something, who would be there for Johnson's? When he gets home for head starts. She start a point, admitted Sister Patrick. There is so many of them huddled to gather up in the family compound. Mr. Mullans, who always around anyway, do you know Jasons can already make business. Mr. Mullans to make them twice a day for the old digger. But the grandfather refused to take over them. Jansen has helped her so many times that we can, when he comes to our house, get out all the ingredients he can mix up and all by himself. He is not quite strong enough to do that, and he cuts them out with the jelly glasses, and they are the best biscuits I have ever seen. When I'm going to have to try and see it. Mr. Mullen will teach him to dig potatoes and make biscuits, and all his rough little cousins will teach them how to be tough and protect itself. I care about most seeing that child grow up strong and intelligent without being damaged irreversible called yesterday from Switzerland to wish me happy birthday. I could tell she was a little disappointed that I didn't get more excited about our relatives in Switzerland. 10 years ago I might have been, but roots do not matter much anymore. Ancestors in common are just more antiquated old habits. I care about what here's for my do now. I didn't realize our birthday was yesterday, so my father's he would have been a 404. Lily began at the same time. Both women apologized and each begged the other to go first. Sister Patrick said he could wait, and Lily said she was just about to be noisy and her goods to wait too. Well, I was just wondering about the chain of Ireland and to Mountain City. How did you come to join the French order, for instance? Something difficult for God. I entertained the idea of being a missionary to the world. So I went to talk to the nuns about my school. They told me about this order. I went to Belgium 3 days after my 18th birthday. I entered into the now yet. The worst part about it was learning French. I have an atrocious accent to this. I was professed 5 years later, told I would be going to work in the American South. The nun laughed, but it was nearly 30 years before I thought a single black child. I can't say to this day I had ever thought a really poor one. I arrived in Mountain City. It was spring on 1937. A beautiful spring day. Mother laughed. I had traveled down from the New York on the train she had sailed from the Belgium together. No concept of American distance in Ireland. The train for 2 hours we crossed the entire country. We got to St. Clothadales. When we arrived at South Mountain Kid City part where both of us giddy as Dulben barflies, just from hunger. South Depot in 1937 through Lily, why he might even kiss you through the two nuns. At of the time, Sister Patrick as a young woman of 23 and my father in the same place at the same time. Mother Doran met us at the pot. Belgium over noise mistress had been very strict about such things. Mother Doran glows as clearly as I can see my shoes in front of me now. Big dining room for breakfast. Blackly hand reached in front of me and set down a bowl of steaming oatmeal. It was the first time in my life I had seen a black hand at the close range. I belonged to Hinta. I went to teach a Mountain City Catholic High in 60s. Claudine Thompson, the young scamp, always up to some mischief for mother. But bright, the bright ones are often mischief makers. It's going to be a pillow, a belated wedding present, a darling girl I met the beach at the last summer. Editing flies out again just to be on the safe side. She just married into a strictly Orthodox Jewish family. That's nice, said Sister Patrick. What religion was the father? And along as the girls happy as you say. He likes to do, which is very important. He really loves always projecting about how big companies can make more money investing in real estate under his own name. And one of his thesis advisor, he says when he get his doctorate, he can have his pickup of business schools anywhere in the country. It's a brand new field of the academic world. So that's all right. Now she just needs the right girl. If I were a girl his age, no, a little younger would be best. If I'd be falling at this fit, but either he likes girls who aren't suitable, or the girls he aspires to not do to seems to be aspired to him. He's still young, said Sister Patrick. There is still plenty of time. Then Lily stopped herself mobilely. She stitched in the companionable silence for a while. Lily couldn't help noticing shoes always looked more elegant when you had long things. Sister Patrick were at least a triple. Began Sister Patrick twisting her nun's fall still ever, wedding ring around and around, her finger nervously suddenly blushing up to the line of her permanently waved white hair. I had this dream last night. I dreamed of Theo as soon as I woke up. I know it had been Theo the way he looked at the last. When he wore the mustache, he brought the little boy out of the convenience to show Sister Charlotte. Lily could not speak for a minute. She felt too many things: astonishment, pain, hope, the plain old fashioned jealousy. Why had Theo came into her dreams last night? I would like to ask our gracious Lord to grant my nice Julie godfather to her wedding this coming Saturday, said Sister Duggan if they will. Our old student Stephen Robin Starr's telephone said Sister Laren asking for our special prayers. She and her husband Bob have just found out their 14-year-old son Paul has a particular violent form of liver cancer. Let us all pray for departed sisters in order, said Sister Sesame. I would like to remember Sister Maria von Bletcher in a particular because she was such a comfort to me. I would like to offer special prayers for the people who are going to die suddenly and alone. May the Lord bless us, protect us from an all evil, and bring us to everlasting life.